How's it going, everybody? And welcome to this series, The Essentials of TypeScript. Now, in this video in particular, we're going to be starting from absolute zero. We're going to cover the absolute basics. And before we get started with some coding examples, let me just mention two really important points. One, I'm sure you've heard that TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. And that just means syntactically, TypeScript has a much larger surface area. So we're going to have to learn new syntax with TypeScript. The second thing is that if you're coming from the JavaScript world, we're really going to have to update our mental model on how we write code. So with JavaScript, everything we write runs at runtime. And that's not the case. In TypeScript, we're going to be writing a lot of code that's going to be stripped away before runtime, possibly in the build process. And if you're wondering, well, why would we write code that's just going to get stripped away later? Well, TypeScript famously has fantastic autocomplete, and we can only do that through all of these type systems, right? So we have autocomplete. I personally love TypeScript because it makes us more conscious about our code. Having type safety in, a production environment is super important. And, at the end of the day, TypeScript is just like having someone look over your shoulder and just be checking for problems, bugs, errors, and that's really awesome. So a lot of those stupid mistakes that you would be writing in JavaScript will just get caught by the TypeScript server here when you're writing your code, right? Just one key wrong and you're going to see some errors, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and hop into our first topic, and that is inferred types versus explicit types. Now, if you wanted to make this really explicit, we could say and we'll say first name, and we'll assign it a type, right? And we're going to call this string, and then I can say Hunter. All right, just like that. And when we hover over first name, we're going to already see that, right? Our text editor in TypeScript is aware of our code, and that's the beauty of TypeScript. And as you see, it says string. Now, if I go ahead and get rid of this, we still have type safety, actually, right? It is inferred. It knows that since we initialized first name with a string, this is supposed to be a string. So if I come in here and I change first name to, let's just say Bob, okay, it's fine. It works. Now, if I change it to 10, it's going to say, whoa, hey, type number is not assignable to type string. And that's going to be an issue. So, this may be kind of like just a simple mistake that we would have made in a JavaScript environment, but TypeScript is already telling us, whoa, this is not working. Now, let me show you something really cool. If I change this to const, oops, let me spell that properly. Okay, here we go. And we know that this is a constant. Take a look at the type. It's not a string. It's not all of the possible strings out there. It is just Hunter, which is super, super cool. So it's narrowing the type even to that degree. Okay. And we have all of the types available. We could do a Boolean, right? And I'll just display that really fast. And I'm just going to use inferred types because that's what I prefer. Honestly, I don't really mind any of the styles, but this is just how I like to do it. And let's go with true. Okay, awesome. And you're going to see that this is a Boolean. I could say, let age equal 32. I'll say 33 because I'm 33 at the moment. Okay. And as you see, it is going to be a number. And if we make the simple mistake of saying, 34 string, we're going to get this barking at us again. Type string is not assignable to type number. Now, if you wanted this to be a number or a string, this is probably not the best example of that, but later on, there'll be legitimate cases for that. We're going to be talking about those situations and how to handle those in later videos. So, all right. Now that we have all this, we can type that as null. We can type this as undefined. We can type this, we can type objects, functions we're going to get into later. Objects we're definitely going to get into later. And so all of those JavaScript primitives like big int, simple, they're all going to be, types in TypeScript as well. Now, let's go in here and talk about some functions. Let's type some parameters. And then we're going to kind of take a look at this. So we already know that in JavaScript, type coercion can be an issue. And the creator of JavaScript even says that a lot of that type coercion, was pretty much an error in the language. But let's go ahead and write a function here. And we're going to call this, calculate total. It's a little bit of a cliche, example, but, I think it does the trick. All right. Quantity. And let's go ahead and also make that a number. Okay. And we're just going to return, you guessed it, price times quantity. Okay, great. And so what this gives us right here is this is going to give us some type safety at invocation time. So when we invoke this function and we calculate total, let's say we have price is 5, and let's say we have, 20 apples, okay? This is an issue, and it's saying, hey, argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. It's like, hey, whoa, you said quantity was a number here. Why did you pass in a string? And that is what TypeScript is all about. It's looking over your shoulder and it's saying, hey, this is not going to work. Now, in JavaScript, we would just get something insane back. And, this is, permissible to some degree in JavaScript. And in TypeScript, it's really correcting, some of those subtle, I don't want to call them mistakes, but they kind of are in JavaScript, if you know what I mean. So this has been a super basic example, and kind of just a nice, easy introduction into TypeScript. I hope this was useful to you. If it was useful, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.